So if there's more demand for highly qualified technicians and highly qualified mechanics, but there's less supply of them, that's a basic economics theory there. The pay rate for the good ones are going to go up. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mason. I'm a Ford technician. I work for a Ford dealership here in Alabama. Yo, so today we're doing another vlog video, or whatever you want to call this. I don't really know what I'm doing. I just know I set this camera up and I sit here and I talk to it like an absolute idiot. I feel dumb when I'm sitting here talking to camera lens. It's just not a natural thing to do. I have a lot of people ask me sometimes, you know, if you could go back, would you still become a Ford technician or a automotive technician, or do you think that it is a good move to become a automotive technician in 2022? So that question in my head, you know, when I think about it myself, it really has two answers, yes and no. There's a lot of reasons that I could come up with to become an automotive technician, or become a Ford or a GM technician or a Toyota technician or whatever. There's also a lot of reasons that I would tell somebody not to become an automotive technician. When I think about the reasons I would or wouldn't tell somebody to you know, take that kind of career path, is really just all boils down to what kind of a person are you. So I don't know if you do or don't know really anything about being a automotive technician, but what I will explain to you real quick is that we're paid on a lot different basis than what everybody else is. So as where most jobs you would you know, you would traditionally clock in, you would be on the clock, you're getting paid an hourly rate or your salary, you know, you just get paid for 40 hours, but you're still essentially hourly. That is not the way that it goes as a automotive technician. As a technician, or in 90% of cases, especially at dealers, you are what they call a flat rate technician. So what flat rate means is that your pay is based off of production. Your pay is based solely off of how much work you can turn out. So for instance, to you know, put this in an example form, if you do a brake job, let's just say for instance it's a full brake job, front and rear brakes, you resurface the rotors, that pay is going to vary, but let's just for good numbers sake, let's just say that pays 4 hours. It pays 4 hours to pull the brake pads off, put new brake pads on the front and the rear, and resurface the rotors. But you have done thousands of them. You're really, really good. You're really efficient at doing brake jobs. So instead of taking you 4 hours, it only takes you 2.5 hours. Well, in that case, you're still going to get paid for 4 hours, even if it took you 2.5 hours. Now, on the flip side, if you suck at brake jobs, you don't even know how to stop a car, you don't know what a brake pedal, brake pad is, and it takes you 9 hours to do that same brake job, unfortunately, you are not going to get paid for those 9 hours. You're only going to get paid for 4 hours. Now, most of you probably already knew this, but I just wanted to explain that just for reference, because my entire thinking on whether or not you should become an automotive technician, if that's something you're interested in, or you shouldn't become an automotive technician, is solely based on how productive you are. If you're the type of person that is very, very productive, like you're efficient, you can get things done way faster than what somebody else would be doing that same thing, as how long it would take somebody else. If you can do it way faster, then this kind of job is honestly where you're going to make the most money at. So something else that I will say about becoming an automotive technician, especially in 2022, is that if you are not someone who is fairly good with understanding basic electrical and basic electronics, like as far as you know, communication networks, and I know all of these are skills and traits that you can learn, but if you're not the type of person that just really understands these things at their very basic core, then becoming an automotive technician is a terrible idea, because the way things are going with cars and trucks nowadays, they're just getting more and more and more advanced in the electronic side, in the electrical side. They're just getting really, really hard to work on. And if you're the type of person that gets really frustrated with things very easily, if you like for instance, if you have trouble getting your TV remote hooked up to your TV and you get frustrated after messing with it for 30 seconds and then you just don't mess with it anymore, you're probably not the kind of person that would want to be an automotive technician, just because it takes a lot of patience to deal with some of these very, very difficult repairs. So in my case, what really drove me to wanting to be, I don't really want to say want, because I never really wanted to be like it. It was just always something that I was really good at. Even coming up as a kid, I was really good at working on four-wheelers and lawnmowers and generators. And I mean, I remember like I'd have family members bringing generators to the house when I was 14, 15 years old when a storm was coming, wanting me to get it running for them because I hadn't run 4 or 5 years. It was just always something that I was good at. It interested me because I enjoyed taking things apart and putting them back together and making them work. Just always something that came kind of natural to me. So I was naturally drawn to wanting to try to do something that I was good at for a living. That's what a lot of people do. If there's something that they're interested in and they feel like they're good at it, they generally will try to make money doing that thing, which is kind of what I did. Now if I could go back, there's absolutely no chance, and there's not a snowball chance in hell that I would be working for a Ford dealership right now. I most certainly would have done something different. I've recently, like in the past couple years of my life, gotten really big into aviation, and it may even be something that I get into later in my life, because I'm still pretty young. But I just have found that like the hobby that I used to enjoy, like I used to enjoy working on cars and working on my own vehicles and fixing things up and making them run good, like I don't enjoy it anymore. Like it's not fun to me. It's something that I literally have to do every single day, so therefore it's just taking all of the fun out of it. Now if I had like a family member or a friend or somebody that thought that this is a career path that they wanted to take, I'm not going to say that I would try to detour them away from it, but I would at least try to make them understand the facts about this job. And the simple fact of the matter is that especially in dealerships, especially in bigger dealerships, a lot of them can be really hard to work for. I find myself to be very lucky. I work for a very small dealership with a great bunch of people. Great owner, great general manager, great service manager, just a really good group of guys. Now that has not always been the case. I've worked for several other places where that was not like that, but it's hard to find somewhere that is a good place to work in this industry. It really is. What I would say to somebody who's thinking about making this their career path is, are you the type of person that can be very efficient at what you do? Are you the type of person that can understand things and you can learn fast, and you can move fast? You can do things fast, because if you're slow, you're never going to make it in a world of flat rate technicians. You're absolutely not. I've seen hundreds of guys literally come through dealers and mechanic shops, and they just starve to death and it's not their fault. It's not like they're bad at what they do. They take too long. And if you take too long when you're doing something that is, directly I don't even know how to describe this. It's directly affects your pay. If you're slow, you're not going to make any money. And it sucks to go to a job for 45, 50 hours a week, and when you get your paycheck, it's only for 20 hours. Like you can't consistently do that. And I've seen a lot of guys get starved out of the industry because they come to work for these dealers where they just don't care. They don't care if you're good at it or not. They're going to put you out there, give you your chance, and if you can't make the money, if you can't turn the hours, then they're just going to get rid of you and they're going to find somebody else. So that is something that you really need to take into account before you make the decision that this is what you want to do in your career. Now on the flip side, what I will tell you, for you kind of people that are very efficient, you understand things very fast, you're very patient, you learn really quick, and this is still something that you want to do. This mechanicing is just like all these other skills that people are talking about all the time nowadays. Plumbers, carpentry work, mechanics. I mean, these are skills and traits that we're seeing less and less of, but the demand is twice, 3 times, 4 times as much as what it was 10 or 15 years ago. We have more cars on the road. We have more advanced electronics on them. They're harder to work on. They're harder to diagnose, but yet we have less qualified people working on them. So if there's more demand for highly qualified technicians and highly qualified mechanics, but there's less supply of them, that's a basic economics theory there. The pay rate for the good ones are going to go up. You can make a very, very, very good living as a automotive technician. I mean, this is not like a flipping burgers kind of job anymore. You can make a very, very good living as a plumber, as a carpenter, as a welder. I mean, there's all kind of these kind of blue collar skills that are going away, that we're going to need these kind of people. And if you're one of the good ones, if you're somebody that can learn the trade and learn the skill and work it, you can pretty much name your price, because these dealerships and shops have to pay it, because there isn't anyone else. I mean, like, for example, where I work at, we've been looking for technicians for the past probably 6 months. We've been looking for 1 or 2. We didn't even care if they're completely certified. We just need guys, because we're 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks out on work, and we don't have anybody that can do it. And in 6 months, we found absolutely 0 qualified candidates. 0. 6 months of looking, and we found 0. I mean, that right there goes to tell me that, I mean, you could literally write your own dollar amount, whatever you want, and these places will pay it, because they cannot find anyone else. So I hope all of my absolute rambling that I just did sitting in my driveway made sense in my head. But you know how sometimes you think something in your head makes sense, and then you let it out of your mouth, and it just makes absolutely 0 sense, especially compared to what you just had in your head. I hope that it made sense. I hope that might help some of you out there struggling with the decision on what you want to do with a career path. Some of you younger guys, or even some of you older guys that might be thinking about this being something that you want. Just don't come into it with the intention or the thought that you're going to just be able to come in and make a bunch of money, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're not. And something else I didn't even mention about flat rate is when you do something and you make a mistake, you make a big mistake, like you leave those 2 bolts loose halfway inside that transmission, or you forget that snap ring as you're putting the transmission back together. You get it all the way back together, you slap it in the car, and it doesn't work. Well, guess what? You're going to pull you're going to pull it back out, you're going to tear it back down, you're going to fix whatever you messed up or whatever you didn't do, and you're going to put it back in the car. And 90% of the time, you're not going to get paid for any of that. That is completely and 100% on you. So that is why you have to know coming into it that it is something that you have to, really, really, really be good at to make money at. And if that's not you, if you don't think that you can consistently do that and be fast and not make mistakes, then I would very, very much suggest finding something else to do, because this is just not the job for you. Anyways, done rambling, not going to say anything else. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope this has helped you in some form or fashion. That's going to wrap us up for this one. Peace out. I will see y'all in the next one.